Welcome back to the Daily Close. And who do we have in the house today? We have Crypto-pleb, looking pretty stacked, my dude, looking pretty stacked. We have Gojo with a professional setup there. I need to get a setup like that. That looks so sick.
Good evening.
How are we doing? How are we doing, boys? How are we doing?
That's good, man. It's good. I wish I had that background. He's got spaceships back there. Oh my God.
He's launching into space.
Fly to the moon, man.
He's getting prepared to launch into space.
That's what's up.
So today, again, as always, we're coming to you with the latest alpha and news in the market and what we think is currently trending right now. So a lot to get excited for in this episode. But as always, before we begin, this is not financial advice. We are not legitimate financial advisors, so please do your own research. Can't stress that enough. Whatever we say is just our own opinion. So yep, be careful out there. The market is quite choppy right now, but there are some good projects that we are going to cover for you today. As always, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification to be updated as soon as we release a new video, which is usually on Mondays.
Japan time.
And also we're doing a new, we've got a new playlist for technical analysis as well. So keep an eye out for that too. So let's jump straight into it. I'm going to start off with my project today, which is on the DeFi side of things. So we've been covering NFTs for the past couple of videos, and I wanted to kind of switch it up and talk to you guys about one of the DeFi projects that I've known for a while. I haven't invested in it, although I am looking into it. And I've been doing a lot of research myself, and it's called Abracadabra. Now, we all know that NFTs love memes. You know, you can never discount the memeability of a project. And I definitely think Abracadabra has that. So let me share my screen with you. Which screen is it? I think it's this screen. Hold on. Oh no, it's definitely not that screen. Hold on a minute. It is.
You got it, man.
Sorry, I've got it. Okay.
There it is.
So Abracadabra. So Abracadabra it consists of two tokens. The first one being spell, and the second one being MIM, M-I-M. And I just wanted to start off with going over some of the fundamentals of it. So currently it's trading at not even 1 cent, a third of a cent right now. How I see it is that new retail and people come into the crypto space really love coins or tokens that are less than $1. You know, if you think of all the meme coins, they're all always like 0.00000001, and people can buy like a billion gazillion of them. So this has that sort of, you know, people love owning more coins. I'm just gonna sidetrack a little bit here. If you think of Bitcoin, people can't afford one Bitcoin, and they think that's a bad thing. So they prefer to buy things where they can buy a lot of. So this has that potential. Now, the market cap is around about 200 million right now. It's not a micro cap. I would say this is a relatively small cap. And it is a DeFi project. If we look at the price action in recent times, I've got it in the past 90 days here. It did start off 0.000, that's 3 zeros, 3, and now it's done about 10x in the last since August, which is a pretty modest 10x in the crypto space. But I think this has a lot of potential. You know, I would not be surprised to see this do another 10x. You know, potentially go to like 30 cents, $1 in the future as well. And we are coming into Q4, which means that we do experience a lot of parabolic growth within Q4 in the total. In the market in general. So it's currently trading at a third of a cent. If we jump, I just want to share a tweet real quick. So this is an older tweet that I found. It was posted on June the 8th of this year. And it basically just sums up it sums up what actually spell is and abracadabra is. If you're not following this guy, follow this guy. It's Refi 0x. And he sums it up quite quickly. It's quite a long thread. I'm not going to go through all of this thread, but I just want to show you the first tweet that he posted. So Spell or Abracadabra Money is a new DeFi primitive allowing users to borrow against interest-bearing tokens. Now that's important, the interest-bearing tokens part. Staked Spell will earn 75% of interests on all loans. Multi-chain integrations with Phantom, Polygon, and BSC, which is Binance Smart Chain, in the works. And I think that's also important because Ethereum, as we all know, has high transaction fees. Not everyone can afford to transact on Ethereum at the moment. So in order to capture and, in order for the crypto space to experience parabolic growth, which it has been in recent times, we need to use, different layer 1s and layer 2s to, attract and get other people to actually use blockchain and crypto. So I'll go into the interest-bearing tokens in a bit more detail in a second. But this is their main website. And it says here, Abracadabra Money is a spellbook that allows you to produce magic internet money. So it sounds like a meme, but actually it's quite productive. It's quite amazing what they're doing. Now, if you're not familiar with DeFi, DeFi is basically decentralized finance. So if you think about a bank, how you can get loans and you can, borrow against those loans. DeFi allows you to do it in a decentralized fashion. So you don't need, you don't need all these different criteria that you need to hit, for example, to get a loan from a bank. You can actually do it if you meet, very, very small criteria without any permission. So with DeFi, usually you can borrow and lend based on a collateralized token, a collateralized coin. So for example, you might collateralize ETH, for example, or Bitcoin. However, what the difference between other DeFi protocols like Uni and Sushi and how Abracadabra is different is that it allows you to borrow using interest-bearing tokens. So things like XSushi, YVUSDT, YVUSDC. And what this means is that if you take out a loan from, let's say, Yearn Finance, YFI, you receive an interest-bearing token in your wallet. So if you deposit, if you deposit a stablecoin, let's say USDT, you will receive YVUSDT. And then you can then use that interest-bearing token to then borrow on top of your initial USDT. Now, the reason it's so interesting is because you can actually borrow up to 90% of your collateralized token. MIM is actually a stablecoin backed, a backed stablecoin. So it's very similar. People compare it to Maker, where their stablecoin is backed, mainly by DAI, but in this case, MIM is backed by interest-bearing tokens. And so you can borrow up to 90% of your collateralized ETH. So for example, if I put in $10,000, I can borrow up to $9,000. And they have a fairly basic site right now. I would go in and have a look. You can farm, you can borrow, stake, even swap, bridge. They've integrated Phantom already. But I wanted to go into a bit more detail about the two different coins, MIM and also Spell. So if I scroll down from this Medium article, let's cover, let's cover Spell first. So Spell is the Abracadabra magic token. It has a maximum supply of 200 billion. So Spell is basically, as I was mentioning, one of the tokens for Abracadabra, and its main usage is to actually obtain S-Spell tokens. And so you buy Spell, you stake Spell to get S-Spell, and what it does is this grants holders voting rights to change platform parameters such as TVL, liquidation fees, future collateral options, and it also grants holders a claim on fees generated by the protocol. which is pretty standard in all sort of decentralized finance protocols. But the protocol fees at launch derive solely from interest on borrowed MIM. 75% are used to purchase spell back, so that they have a buyback mechanism. 20% is allocated to the governance treasury that will be used to incentivize MIM liquidity pools. So people LPing will also receive the fees generated by that. And then 5% is redirected to a multi-sig treasury that will be used when market conditions require intervention. So that's spell. MIM is, I found, I'm pretty sure it goes over MIM as well. So yeah, sorry, it was at the top here. The MIM token is a USD pegged stablecoin that is backed by IB tokens, so interest-bearing tokens. MIM tokens are minted by multi-sig holders in Ethereum, and only after being collateralized are they injected into circulation. In the future, they may be bridged to other blockchains. So MIM is essentially your stablecoin, like USDT, USDC, DAI, and it allows you to, it essentially creates another layer for you to actually borrow on. With very minimal risk, because you're using stablecoins to collateralize and borrow. So in the example that I gave before, you can use USDC and then receive an interest-bearing token once you stake that in a different protocol to receive like YV USDC, for example. And then you can use that YV USDC to stake in or provide liquidity in Abracadabra Money, and you receive MIM. And then what you can do with that MIM is you can either change that into more USDC, more USDT, you can buy ETH. So it creates a sort of another layer and another productive asset that you can actually use within DeFi to borrow and lend. So it's a very, very interesting protocol. I don't believe there's any other protocol like this at the moment. So I think that this is a first mover. I think that rather than having, interest-bearing tokens that grant you a very, very minimal amount of interest, you can use that again in a very a minimum risk sort of collateralized DeFi protocol and borrow up to 90% of your collateral. So yeah, I think it's very interesting. It has been on the rise recently. If we go back to the chart, I see it's had a very, very nice growth since the beginning of September. I do expect this to fly, especially with DeFi season coming up soon. We've been very heavily in NFTs, and there's been a big boom in NFTs, but DeFi will return. And when it does, this is definitely a project to look into. So that's it from me. I hope you liked this project. Do your own research as always, but I'll pass it on to the next person now.
That'll be me, but I love it. Spello looks like a pretty good project as well. Definitely take a look. I have something very similar to it as well that I can share. I'm actually be covering Joe. It's not a person. It's just a DAX on the, what's it called, AVAX blockchain. So I think it's gonna be pretty cool. So let me just pull it up my side here, and I have it right. Bang, there we go. So I'm starting off with the Twitter page, but I'll move on to other pages, so this can be pretty straightforward. But I'm just gonna start with the reasons why I like Trader Joe. Simply enough, I have great interest in DEXs and being able to put money into liquidity pools and then be able to therefore stake and farm and make some money while you sleep. And Trader Joe does offer some great products on its platform as well. Some range with a more stable pairs for liquidity or for farming, I mean, for USDT to other altcoins, to which usually range about 30% percentage APR, to some that go to like higher risk, all the way up to like 236-37% for APR as well. So it is a bit new, and I'm going to get into that as well, but I like it because it gives some good opportunity to make some good money. It's built on AVAX, on Avalanche, which has smart people behind it creating the platform. We covered it in the previous video before, so we can put it in the link at the end of this video so you can check back to see why Avalanche matters. But I'm paying attention to this, and I'm actually investing in this myself as well. So let me just go through the very top. Just keep it simple. It is a decentralized exchange, one-stop place you can go to, which works with Avalanche Network, allowing you to trade tokens, farm tokens, stake tokens, and borrow tokens as well. Their products are community-driven, which allows them to give fees that are collected from liquidation and swaps back to users via their Joe and XJoe staking mechanism. Now, not only that, I mean, it rewards their holders. I also, am farming on it, and I'm getting, by putting money in into Joe, I'm getting some XJoe back out to as well. It's a very common method. It works out that space, but I see or hope for great things coming from it. But its interface is very straightforward. I mean, it's built to be very, very simple. And once you connect your wallet, I will note that you need to have an Avalanche wallet. And so in order to do that, you want to use the Avalanche bridge, which is, I think it's quite easy to use. You connect it with your MetaMask, and you can initiate the transaction. Once you move money over to the Avalanche bridge, they'll typically airdrop you AVAX as well, so you can make transactions on the network, which is also very nice. I would say it does take quite a few, maybe about 7 to 10 minutes for the transaction to go through, because there's 35 confirmations they have to go through from my experience. But after that, the rest of the process is fairly simple. Now, here is, we can talk about the tokenomics here as well. I will say, with the previous price movements, it's been a bit volatile. I think I got in probably around about 3.41, dropped to about 3 sometime today. By the time of this video, we're back up to 3.55. So I'm hoping it goes up. There's a bit of a spread. If you know the trade, you can make some money here. But I mean, at least for this this project, probably similar to knxqtr project. I mean, it's probably maybe small cap, not micro cap. It does have a fixed max supply of 500 million, where the total supply, the circular supply right now is about 88 million. Now, I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot more interest coming into this platform, probably because it's fairly new. And actually, if I go deeper into the tokenomics here, it was only until maybe like July that they actually started their emissions schedule. And so, I mean, it's quite a new, fresh project, or a fresh DEX they can look into. But simply enough, 0.5% of all trades are paid to the XJoe staking pool. And then a share of fees from lending interest and liquidations are paid to that XJoe staking pool. And then holders, such as myself, you can stake Joe to XJoe, receive share of revenues as well. It's broken down as such. 50% goes to liquidity providers, 20% goes to their team. So they are, it is for profit. They do have 20% going to the treasury and 10% going to strategic investors. Still a growing space, so they need to leave that open for growth. Like I said, it came out July 3rd is when their emission race started to begin, and it should end in January 3rd. So it's a pretty tight schedule here. You can always look at this on their main website to know more. But just kind of back to some things that I like about it is its roadmap. I think they've actually been quite aggressive. Starting in again July 2021, that's when they launched their DEX. As you see from the website, they kept it very simple, intuitive platform to use. I could use it without having to do that much more research. Just jump into it. It's quick, click and go. Already we're past August. They already launched their lending and leverage trading. And actually, what's the cool point about this is that Joe is connected with Chainlink. That way they can get the relevant data onto the platform to allow for lending and leverage trading. We actually covered Chainlink before, so you can have a look at that in the previous videos as well. But from then on, from September and onward, their goal is to put on limit orders, which would be great for dexes, especially if you're trying to avoid massive drops in price at these times. But and options and futures, obviously, for hedging your risk. It is still quite nascent in its current phase. But this project also sees itself as trying to become a bit of an R&D culture and platform. They operate more of like an agile approach to quick development of new assets onto the platform. And I think that with a team that they have behind them, I think all of them are developers for the most part. They're going to be doing their best to stay on the bleeding edge of technology as much as possible. And then finally, just with the governance here, it is a decentralized platform. They're trying to go for fully community governed protocol like a DAO, so that people who work in or are engaged in the platform can also vote on community proposals. It has all the main points I like about the cryptocurrency space, especially with altcoin projects and dexes that go for more community control, reward the people who participate in the platform, and just with the types of farm. So just come back here. Some of the type of products you can receive, just staking his own product into the platform, you get 27.30%. So it actually went up. And then even the farm, if you want to go absolutely wild, you can go for some a bit riskier assets. Trade very carefully, as coins can change drastically in one direction or the other. You might suffer impermanent loss. And for those of you who aren't sure about impermanent loss, I do have a link here that explains it very, very well that you can look in after this video. But last point I'll make on this platform here is that they do have a Medium page set up. What I do like, yes, it's about 347 followers, so they're still growing for the most part. However, they are quite active and putting in all the information you're looking for. Actually, this is, yes. You can come on here for find some more information about the platform. They actually put quite a large amount of information, and they seem to be posting quite frequently. And so if you want to find out anything new that's going on with this platform, go to their Medium page, go to their Twitter page as well, and you'll find a wealth of information. So when you do your research before you ape into any of these projects, you can know for sure that it could be a moneymaker, or you're prepared to take on the risk. But yeah, that's Joe. I hope you guys like to meet him. And then I'll move it on to Gojo next for your project.
Go, Joe. Haha, get it? Sorry. But thank you very much. I'm gonna end with a very different kind of project. Actually, this is something that we talked about previously, but I want to go back and talk about NFT games. The first game that I want to talk to you guys about is specifically something called Big Time. So I hope that you guys can see this, but I'm going to try and talk over some of this gameplay because I think it's absolutely beautiful. Big Time, before I mentioned, this is a real-time multiplayer action RPG game that I'm really excited for. Massive names backing the project. And basically what it is if you've ever played something like World of Warcraft, you get to go into these instance-based scenarios where you go in with a team of 6, fight some bosses, collect some loot. You know the formula. But the thing that makes this really special for me is the way that they use NFTs, which is they're going to use NFTs to enhance the aesthetics of your characters. So if you're somebody who really loves things like, customizing the look of your character, or if you like things like being able to control the kind of weapons and how they look on your character, this is certainly one way that you'd be able to do that. And it's quite a satisfying experience from what I've seen so far. The game itself is, if I'm looking at the team, they're really passionate about giving the players more control over their characters. If you're a diehard or hardcore MMO fan, you would know what that's like. Is you feel the limitations of the skins that you have or the colors that you're able to use to customize your character. But this team goes even beyond that. So their goal is to be able to create an environment where players have actual ownership of the things going on with their characters, whether it's the skins that they have, whether it's the items that they have. You will now be able to take these items and be able to, for example, actually give them to friends, sell them for money, or borrow against the value of those items. So they're really creating this local economy where some other games like World of Warcraft, you might need a third-party platform in order to be able to do those things. And at the end of the day, I think with any existing MMO that we have right now, any item that you're able to farm, any skin that you have is still the property of the people who develop the game. Whereas in this case, it is purely owned by the players themselves. Now, the thing I also am very bullish about this game, or about this game in particular, is if you're looking at just the production quality, it looks insane, right? If I'm looking at some of these character models, if I'm just looking at some of the environment that they have around them, it really does look like something that we've not seen in this space so far. The reason why I think, you know, as of now, if we're looking at the MMO space, it's kind of been dying as a type of game. We've moved into mobile games more recently, especially with things like Axie Infinity, is because players are getting fatigued when it comes to these games being developed. They invest time and money into it. The developers give up on it and it gets shut down. They're trying to eliminate this kind of fear or this kind of uncertainty through this economy. If you are interested in big time, it's set to release in Q1 of 2022, and it's a staggered release. So they're going to be giving early access to people through passes that look something like this, which you can purchase right now. They're actually available. The earlier passes grant you earlier access to the game, which gives you more time to explore and gather some loot, get yourself a head start. The other thing I should note about this game is you might be thinking, oh, does that mean that I have to invest a lot of money into these NFTs if I want to be strong in the game? The thing that they do quite brilliantly in this game is the NFTs are purely for the aesthetic parts of the game, meaning if you are looking to enhance your items and level up and get stronger, you still have to progress through the levels and do all the challenges. You don't get an edge just because you put thousands of dollars into the game, which is something I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy. So if you are interested in this, I think Big Time also has been doing a lot of work to get funding for their game. It is quite in the space, especially with NFT games, there's still a lot of speculation. A lot of these games are showing content and they're releasing footage from pre-alpha environments. So at this moment, the thing I would be mindful of is when you are investing in games like this, you need to understand that you're investing on a promise. There isn't a product yet. They haven't done any launch or any demo of this anywhere at the moment, as with most games like the next one I'm going to talk about. Just be mindful of that. But again, I am very bullish on the gaming space as the next advent for NFTs. And I can easily see this market expanding quite largely. The other thing I should note about this is they are doing a lot of, Big Time specifically is doing a lot of kind of partnerships with things like CoinGecko, where you're able to do, or they've been doing some releases and some giveaways on CoinGecko, Binance as well. You're able to use use Binance to purchase some of their NFTs. It really is quite amazing. The next thing I want to talk about very briefly here is Star Atlas, which is not new. It is a project that we've discussed in the past, but just to emphasize how far we've gotten in games. And I know that, you know, Base Buddha talked about this previously, but the one thing I want to note about this is just with Unreal Engine 5, which is being used on most of our AAA titles with EA, with, you know, games like Battlefield, we're reaching that level when it comes to NFT games. We're not looking at, you know, like the pixel generated profile picture arts that you're used to. When it comes to games, there's a lot of time and quality that we're seeing. Now, One thing that I want to highlight, and not to overlap with the previous conversations that we had around Star Atlas, is where is it now and the potential that we see here. So if I'm very quickly looking at some price action for Star Atlas, and you can see when it was first announced, there was a, not first announced, I should say, but when it received the most attention, there was a massive spike, and we're seeing it drop down to 0.08, so 8 cents from its peak, which was about 20 cents. Now, the reason for this is because a lot of people investing in these NFT games are not holding for short-term gains. Games like Star Atlas are going to take time and money to develop. So they're holding this as a bag so that when it does launch fully, they can reap some of their benefits. But if you're expecting any kind of a 10, 20, 100x return on this, this is certainly not that project. One thing that is unique about Star Atlas that I'm learning more and more about is some of the new innovations that they bring into the gaming space, and actually more broadly is wider acceptance or mass adoption of some real use cases of NFTs actually in the finance space. So if you guys know about Star Atlas, literally everything you own, it's a massive explorable universe game where you can create a starship, you can create a crew of members, you can visit stars and planets. Everything that you own is an NFT. But what comes with that is actually a lot of risk, because in the game, for example, if your ship gets attacked by pirates, they destroy your ship gets burned. That NFT is gone. And what happens to it is it breaks up into small parts that people can pillage as loot and collect for themselves. But if you've spent thousands of dollars on an NFT that just, has the risk of getting eliminated, that might pose as a very scary situation for a lot of these new NFT gamers. And so what is coming up with Star Atlas is, for example, the idea of really treating a game like an economy. And what I mean by this is, if you are standing to lose, a $2,000, $3,000 ship to a random attack that you're not prepared for, things like insurance, right? When we talk about insurance in the DeFi space, this game is looking to implement an insurance type of system where you can protect your ships in the case that they get attacked for a certain amount. I know, again, this isn't yet fully developed within the crypto space. And a game like Star Atlas, if it does gain the kind of mass adoption that we're expecting it to get, could open the door to more widespread real world use and adoptions of things like insurance on the blockchain. Similarly, staking. So we had knxqtr and Crypto-pleb talk about that already. But if you're looking at a game like this, where you could stake in game with a real world economy, right? If you are for example, a banker in this game, that can really present some fantastic opportunities to create a more immersive gaming experience, where if you're looking to really build and be part of a metaverse, not just through your character, but actually through your investments, Star Atlas is proving to be one of the more innovative projects within this space. So again, the same thing is, because it is a long-term project, we don't have an exact date of when it's going to be released just yet. And what we're hearing is it's going to be more of a staggered release for them as well. I think they're going to do an initial release where they're going to talk about exposure to like a dock, your shipping dock, and then you get to go in and see what that's like. But it will take time, as with good quality products, for this to really take off and for us to see some returns on the actual token. So for me, this is where I'm going to end with gaming. I have a feeling that there are going to be more and more titles like this moving forward, especially since we're starting to see the massive potential in the space. But be wary. I know there are a lot of people bullish on the gaming industry within crypto, but be wary, because we need to see evidence before we can really move forward. If I think to the likes of Illuvium, which actually has some gameplay footage now, I am more convinced that this is reality, but you can never be too risk averse in this space. Otherwise, that's it for me. Thanks a lot.
Really exciting stuff. Really exciting stuff. As you can tell, Gojo, you know, he prepared his background and his setup for Star Atlas. He's
Nah.
going into space, so he really wanted to make the effort to prepare that for you guys. But no, it's very interesting to see DeFi and gaming come together. It's like it's come full circle, you know. The utility of NFTs along with the utility of DeFi coming together. It's I think this is what blockchain was meant to be for. This is like the biggest utility for blockchain, along with, you know, other things too. But the two biggest ones being NFTs and DeFi. So 3 very cool and interesting projects that you guys might have heard of, might not have heard of. But just to recap, we've got Avalanche, not Avalanche, sorry, Joe, which is an AMM, a DEX on Avalanche. We had Abracadabra, which was on Ethereum network, which is a DeFi protocol. And we had 2 gaming projects from Gojo, Star Atlas and Big Time. So we're going to leave it there. Thanks, guys, for tuning in again. Please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. We're coming to you with all the best projects. You hear it here first all the time. So please do subscribe. It means a lot to us. But with that, I'm going to leave it there, and we'll see you in the next video.
See you guys there.
May the pump be with you.
Boys, may the pump be with you.